back to my channel. So today we will talk about telescopes. So basically there are two types of telescope. There is one called refractor type telescopes and reflector type telescope. First we look at refractors. So first there is a lens. So here I have an example of here. So here I have a lens. So this lens is called the objective. So this lens right here and right here, this part is called the objective. It has a focal length but not the entire tube. Then is the eyepiece, which has also a focal length. So let me show you eyepiece. This is an eyepiece. So this is an eyepiece right here. This is an eyepiece. So first what happens, light focuses into a point, then it just inverts. Now if you have done experiments with, let's say, a lens, convex lens. If you do something, it will show an image and which is inverted. That's why it makes an inverted. One. So if you see some words that are distant, it will see inverted from this telescope. So what happens then? The eyepiece just focuses it and into your eyes, and what happens, you see it at the wrong place. Mean that the line of sight. So in my telescope right here, this focuses right about here and this focuses right about here, and this reflects the light. This reflects and this goes here. But I am in wrong impression because I will see it downward. If you have learned about line of sight, you have learned that if I look from here, it will look like I am looking down. But really what is happening, light is coming, reflecting through here and going through here. Light is reflecting, going through here, going through here. That's what happening. So that's what's happening with this guy. This guy is looking right here, but it's looking right here. Now comes the Newtonian type telescopes, also called reflector type telescopes. Instead of refraction of lenses, it uses reflection of mirrors. So here is a mirror right here. This is called the primary mirror. So if you have seen of James Webb Space Telescope, you will see primary mirror deployed, secondary mirror deployed. The primary mirror is right about here. In James Webb Space Telescope, primary mirror is right this one, and the secondary mirror is this one. So what happens? This is the primary mirror. It's a parabolic mirror, so it focuses light into a point. Then with the help of an eyepiece you can see it. That's the case. And so these are the two types of telescopes. These are refractor type telescopes and refractor type telescopes, also called Newtonian type telescopes. So here I don't have a Newtonian type telescope, but I can explain this in more detail. This way, the second right here. So here you can see it. So first let me explain it. So this lens right in here, is called the objective, and then inside this is the focal length. So, and then this focal length, and then this reflects and goes into my eye. Actually, so this lens, so if you have heard of Newtonian telescopes, like the James Webb Space Telescope, and the Hubble Space Telescope is also a Newtonian telescope. So, Hubble Space Telescope and the James Webb Space Telescopes are Newtonian type, which means that they focus light through a mirror, not a lens. So, mostly Newtonians are used in observatories, the Hubble Space Telescope and the James Webb Space Telescope mostly. So, to explain just Newtonians in a few seconds, yeah, I forgot. Where is the secondary mirror? If you ask, it is right here. Again, let me make a diagram. This is a tube. So here is a parabolic mirror. It is called the primary mirror. And here you have an eyepiece. So light comes through here, bounces off the mirror and focus at some point. And there's another mirror here called the secondary. So what happens? It does this. So yeah, I forgot to tell. So if you are talking about refractors, and so let's say now the thing is more distant and light coming through isn't focusing. So what happens? They give you a focus knob right here. So it focuses light at any place. In Newtonians also, if it does not focus, refer to the focus knob. So yeah, but there is a problem. With observatories and telescopes like these, refractor, reflector, or anything that's inside the atmosphere of Earth, there is a problem with telescopes. Even if it's perfectly made, there is a problem, which is the atmosphere. So how can the atmosphere be a problem? So what happens if you zoom closely on an object? It gets a little bit, because the air currents, it gets a little bit, wobbly something, and makes the image blurry. And what happens if you put the telescope in space? What happens? You don't need to worry about the atmosphere. You just take images. You can go away from the Earth like the James Webb Space Telescope at the Earth position and take infrared astronomy. So that's why we put telescopes in space. There are lots of pollution and air currents and light coming from cities, from the moon. That's why we put telescopes in space. So that's why. So what happens here is, now I want to talk about something. So sometimes what happens here, what happens is this tube. So I will make a video about lenses. So what happens, but if you see, there are different lenses. I've got 2 of these, but I'm showing one. So why do you got different lenses? So to magnify things a lot better, you need to make it. So to magnify things, what do you need to do? Firstly, put a new lens. So this lens is, so this is an eyepiece, by the way. So eyepiece has this lens. So eyepieces have lens. So if you change an eyepiece, you change a lens. Practically change a lens. So what happens here is this. Then you pop in another mirror, a lens, and if you need, you can focus it to another point, because the focal length of this and other lens is different. So you defocus. So what happens? Now let's talk more detail about the Newtonians. So wait a second. Because I don't have a Newtonian type telescope, I have to make it by drawing. So right here, so the Newtonian telescopes, like the James Webb Space Telescope or the Hubble Space Telescope, use a mirror. So I'm making a big thing. So they also have eyepieces. Big. So they also have eyepieces. Like I said before, light comes, bounces back, light comes, bounces back into this point where it reflects, focuses into your eye. It also has a focuser if the object is super far. But the most important thing is this. If you see at Hubble photos, the stars look like pointy things. So the point is diffraction. So light comes near an object, it diffracts. So it diffracts. So what happens here is this. Hubble had, so for the primary mirror, so what happens? You can't float the primary mirror right in the air. So you need to put these 4 sticks right like this. You need to put these inside this. You have to put this, the secondary mirror. Then the light comes and look like pointy stars. So it diffracts, and so now we come to the summary. So the summary is this. So there are 2 types of telescopes, refractor and reflector. Refractor type telescopes use a lens, 2 lenses in fact, to focus things into a big thing, magnify things, and and make objects look bigger. Telescopes are instruments that magnify distant objects. And the Newtonian telescope uses 2 mirrors and a lens to focus the light into a magnified thing. These 2 types of telescopes are used in the observatories, the NASA's Hubble Space Telescope and the James Webb Space Telescope, and a lot more things. We put telescopes in space because of the atmosphere, the air pollutants, and the light from the cities and the moon. so that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed and see you tomorrow.